Hey everyone, Angelo here, homeless filmmaker in LA. And I was thinking about, how I'm going to try and replace the radiator on my car. Should be a pretty simple job. And all the times mechanics have lied to me, or that I suspect that they were, stretching the truth or just lying. Maybe just stretching the truth, as far as what repairs I badly needed. And the importance of being able to fix your car yourself. I know it's not for everyone, believe me, for most of my life it wasn't for me. Now I kind of have a little more patience, I'm older, and I don't have money to go to a mechanic for a lot of things. So if I wanted to get my radiator replaced at a mechanic, it could easily cost me $400. Even with the radiator and all the little extra things I'll need, the bushings, gaskets, I'm trying to think what else I might need. I may need one or two pieces of tools, but I think I pretty much have everything. It's going to cost me maybe around $200 to replace it myself. $100 for the radiator and just a few other things. So I'm probably going higher than it may end up costing. So $200, I'll say. And I'm still, by the way, paying off a $1,200 bill for financing on repair work on my old car that, hard to say whether I would have really needed it or not, but because my car was destroyed about a month later in a car crash. But I should have been more patient and taken it to another mechanic to look at, because I went to get my tires rotated, I think, and they said I need new tires, and that was true. They were really worn down. I had those tires a long time. I drove them across the country. It was definitely time for new tires. The car wasn't performing as well because of them. But then they kept calling back and saying, well, you need new control arms, you need new bushings, you need something with the wheels, and it ended up being $1,200. And I should have said no to all that stuff. The tires are the emergency, and everything else can just wait. But I went for it because I was really impatient and thoughtless. Now I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, well, I'll just wait. I don't care, even though it drives me crazy to wait and not be able to get stuff done now. It would have been worth it, because they were charging hundreds and hundreds of dollars in labor, which is standard for a mechanic. Now other times that I know, either they were just lying or really just being lazy and thoughtless, and or just trying to get away with doing work that I sort of needed but didn't really need. So one example is this real jerk at a mechanic at I think it was some kind of green, I could never find it on Google Maps, but exactly, because there's like 2 gas stations listed right there or something, but on the corner in Arlington, Virginia of Wilson Boulevard and George Mason Drive, North George Mason Drive, I believe, right there, across the street from a McDonald's, there's a gas station where they have a mechanic shop as well. I brought my car to try and get this relay installed or something so I could start my car properly, because on my old Honda Civic there was a problem with the ignition, so I was having to hotwire it every time from the battery to the starter, go under the hood every time I started the car. And I was about to go to LA, so I wanted to see if they could finally put in this relay right, or whatever it was that I had that I thought might work. And the mechanic called me while I was hanging out across the street, and he said, yeah, your starter doesn't work. And here's the thing. I bought that starter like 2 months before that. Installed it most of the way myself, and then I couldn't get it worked out, and so I brought the mad scientist over to help me with the rest. He's in some of my older videos. Great guy. He saved me a ton of money. He knows cars, and he was helping me out for free on a lot of stuff. I insisted on getting him meals and stuff and driving him around, but he didn't want anything. So first he says the starter doesn't work, and I'm like, no, it does. What are you talking about? I just drove it right there. And I said, I was being real nice, overly generous. Like, you know how to start it, right? Like, you hold the wire to the battery terminal and then press it to the start. He's like, I know how to start it. So this lying little prick didn't know how to start it. and was telling me I needed a new starter after I just bought like a $120 starter. So I went over there, showed him, and of course I didn't want to tell him, like, oh, so you lied, right? I don't need a new starter, and you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't know how to do this. But yeah, it's a gas station with like green on it. I forget what the name of it is, but anyways, don't go there. I've always felt like, are they telling me the truth here? Am I really getting, a good deal for what I'm, I got a head gasket replaced there for fixed for $500 there once. But I've been there before, and I felt like I just didn't seem right. Another place down the street from there was going to charge me hundreds and hundreds of dollars for something that I absolutely did not need. I can't remember the name of this one either, but it was down the street on Wilson Boulevard. So if you're going towards Seven Corners from there, there's a little, not the Liberty Station that was right across, basically just a little bit down the street by the Safeway that's there, but keep going further down Wilson Boulevard towards Seven Corners and towards the BJ's. There was another gas station on the right, and I was trying to do an inspection, I think, and they said it's not going to pass inspection because, one, your safety or seatbelt light is going off. So there's a problem with the sensor in the seatbelt buckle, so you'll need to get that replaced, and that'll be hundreds of dollars because just the seatbelt buckle and installation. Seatbelt buckle, I think I could only order from Honda at a dealer, so that was going to be something crazy. I forget, maybe $200 or $300. I could be wrong. And I would then need it installed, which means taking out the whole seat and installing that. And then the headlights were too foggy, and I said, well, how much would that be? And he's like, new headlights, it'd be like $250. And he's like, whoever installed your headlights before, which I did, they're pointed all weird directions, like this and this. I'm like, bullshit. I looked at them, they were perfectly fine, they're straight. Not only that, even if they were not pointed the right direction, now I didn't put the whole headlight assembly in, I'm just talking about the actual light bulb that I just stick in there because those went out so much on that Civic. I always had a spare set in my trunk. Yeah, if they were pointed the wrong direction, it's the easiest thing to reach in there and just straighten them. So that made no sense. But $250 for a new set of headlights, I wasn't paying for that. So my friend the mad scientist showed me two things. One, we went to a junkyard. It was like $3 for me to get in and for him, so I just paid the entry for both of us. We went to look, and I looked up on my phone a compatible model Civic that had a seatbelt buckle I could use, and so he found one. He had his tools, and in a junkyard, basically how it works is you pay. It's the same every junkyard I've been to, which is only like 2 or 3. You pay an entry fee. You go in with your tools. You can take whatever you want. A guideline is, a sort of unspoken rule is, don't damage stuff unnecessarily in cars, because you find all these wrecked cars and salvaged cars. Take out what you need, you bring it to the counter, and they'll just kind of tell you what it costs to buy. And so instead of spending hundreds at a Honda dealer and then paying for the $90 an hour labor to get it installed, we got a seatbelt buckle for $20. My friend put it in at like a Mexican restaurant in the parking lot, and then we went inside and ate. So yeah, he had to take out the seat and stuff, but it was the simplest things. $20. And now for the headlights, and you can find this video, how to restore headlights. He's like, you don't need to get new headlights. I went to Home Depot with him. He showed me this rubbing compound, or it's like, yeah, rubbing compound from turtle wax, or like polishing compound it's called. It's like a white cream, basically. It almost looks like cottage cheese. You wipe down the headlights first with water and shop towels, just to get any of the initial dirt off that you can before you put the really effective stuff on, which is this rubbing compound, and you just wipe it on in circles and wipe it off. No additional water, nothing. And you can do it 2-3 times if you really want to get a lot of the film off the headlights. Did that, it passed inspection. So instead of paying $500 or so, or more, to get it to pass inspection, I ended up paying like $29. I can't remember any other times if a mechanic tried to screw me out of money, or it was just being lazy and like knowing like, they could get me to pay if I didn't. But it's important to learn how to fix your car if you can. If not, go to a reliable mechanic, that you personally know. Look for recommendations online and stuff. There are some good ones, but what I'm realizing is a lot of them aren't honest. Some are. I've been to one in LA when my old Civic, I was trying to get it fixed for overheating, and I brought it to these guys early Saturday morning, whatever. They were real honest. They said, yeah, we can't find anything wrong with it. We're not going to charge you anything, but we don't know what the issue is. And I think it was that reservoir cap itself. I didn't realize the cap could be bad. So I'm like, it's a cap. How does it go bad? On the not the radiator itself, but the reservoir, because it was leaking out of there anyways. So it's a good idea. Now, I know it's expensive to get your own tools and stuff, but over time you accumulate that stuff, and that's what I'm realizing is like, oh, I have my tools from the last time I tried working on my car, where I've done simple stuff. I replaced the LEDs in this Toyota Camry. I replaced a lot of the lights in the heads-up display, the speedometer, fuel gauge and stuff, and the air conditioning dials and the gear shifter. The lights were out, and I didn't know it when I bought it because I test drove it during the day. So I replaced a lot of those. I replaced the 2 air conditioning vents up front because I tried putting in a clip for the cell phone, which I've got in now, and I shoved it too hard and the old vent broke. The notch where it locks in snaps off, and it went into the little well where the air conditioning is. So went to a junkyard, got some new sets of those. The trunk latch on my old Civic, it broke, so my trunk wouldn't close. That was really scary here in LA. Knowing it was always open, people trying to yell on the street that, hey, your trunk's open. I just ignore them because I didn't want to tell them, yeah, I know, I can't close it. And went to a junkyard, and again, it was like $20 to take out the trunk latch of an old one. It was really simple to do, thank goodness. And just put it in my old Civic. And everything, it was maybe a little bit more sticky. Same with the seatbelt buckle. You had to jam in the seatbelt a little bit harder. But, that stuff, it's great on Toyotas and Hondas because the parts are so readily available. I don't know if you'd really be able to do that at all for a lot of newer cars and a lot of more expensive and luxury cars. And plus, you got to reprogram computers on a lot of those, which you can't do. And a lot of repairs you can't do. You need very expensive, extremely expensive tools that basically professional garages have. Stuff that have been, very specially made. And the mechanics charge a ton, like on a Mercedes or something. Some mechanics will charge $240 an hour. And the last thing I'll say, if you want to learn how to fix cars, watch Scotty Kilmer on YouTube. He's got literally like thousands of videos. He puts up 2 videos a day because he still fixes cars out of his home. And he doesn't take money. Apparently, look, anybody can just say something. But as far as he goes, I believe him. If it's ever shown he's not telling the truth, okay, I'd accept that. But it seems to be the case that he shows how to fix stuff and he shows what works and what doesn't, as far as new car fixing tools or supposed fuel additives and stuff. So Scotty Kilmer is great. Check him out. There's some other car repair channels as well, but he does it so quick. He doesn't waste a lot of time where you have to watch for 30 minutes to get a simple fix and hear someone's story about trying to fix their car. There are other guides and stuff online as well, but and a fairly basic toolkit isn't too expensive, so it's good to have one in your trunk. And always do regular maintenance, oil changes, tire rotations, check the air in your tires, check the oil level and see how dirty the oil is, check the radiator fluid every few weeks or so. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's good to stay on top of that stuff and get like a little Foxwell scanner tool. If you have a car made after 96, it's got the OBD port, onboard diagnostic, like usually under the steering wheel. You plug it in, you run the code, you run the Foxwell scanner, it'll bring up any error codes, which thank goodness my car has never had any yet. And for 180,000 miles now, I only got it 7,000 miles ago, but Toyota Camrys are made well, and the previous owner kept it in good shape. But you can get that and pulls up codes, and then you can look online to see what the codes are. So at least if you can't fix it yourself, you can go to a mechanic and say, here's the code that I got. Can you, fix this? So they know a little better than to try and be stupid with you. Although some mechanics are just dumb too, like that guy who's like, oh, your starter doesn't work. Oh yeah? I drove it across the street to get there and bought it 2 months ago. Anyways. So that's it. That's just what I was thinking about. Try and learn to fix your own car. At least some things, if you can. It's not worth it for everybody to change your own oil. That's time consuming, and you got to jack it up and stuff and dispose of the oil properly. I'm kind of interested in doing that myself as well, but I don't know how interested I really am in doing it. And I definitely can't rotate my own tires, so I don't have a jack that can, do all that. I mean, to bring up my car enough so that I could properly rotate everything. But anyways, it's worth it to try, and if not, at least find a mechanic who's got good reviews or has good word of mouth from people that you know.